This episode of The Chopping Block will feature footage from Big Pooh's Revenge. To find out more, check the link in the description. What is up, everybody? This is Axe.
And this is Fizz.
And welcome to The Chopping Block, an original gaming vlog style series here on my channel, Axeman Gaming. And there's been some rumors going around,
Just a little bit.
When something's going on for a while and then, it changes up and, changes up again, people are, wondering really how long can it go? And a lot of people have been speculating that this episode of The Chopping Block that we are recording now is in fact the farewell episode. Have you heard about this, Fizz?
I have. It's been going around for a little bit, I don't know. It's been around for about a couple months now. It's been speculating and, we're kind of, I don't know. What do you think about it? What do you think about the people liking the rumors just going around?
Well, I think it's very interesting. And, there's old sayings out there, one saying says, all great things must come to an end. Another saying says that when one door closes, another door opens. But nonetheless, we will formally address these rumors and respond to them in the course of this video. But first, we've got some other things we want to do here. We have an interview with an old friend of ours. Very excited to talk to him again. But first, one thing we want to talk about is the concept of false advertising. And there's nothing really worse than ripping people off of their money, even if you rip them off for a lot of their money, because what you do is you get some money, you make a little bank, but what you do is you sever so many relationships. You have 100 million people there, however many, who won't work with you again. You have all these people now who don't want to do business with you anymore. Of course, we're talking about the huge fiasco, the false advertising going on with No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky, exactly, man. And this is a game that, I was pumped up for a long time, and really when it came out, it was disappointing. I mean, really it was. I played through it, and it just, the countless times that it was delayed, and the long process of us waiting for it to come out, and then we get it, and then it's just, all the hype, all this, and it was an epic fail to me. I mean, I played it for maybe a course of maybe about 12 hours, and it just kind of felt like, okay, well, this is it, really? This is what all this was about? And
Yeah, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, No Man's Sky was a game that had an incredible amount of hype behind it when it was announced, because basically what it was advertised as was this game with an infinite number of possibilities where you're going through space, so many different places, so many different creatures, so many new things to see and explore, that basically you could, play this game forever. And there were supposed to be all these great things in it, and, multiplayer and tons of stuff that when the final version came around, it became apparent this is not at all the game that we were led to believe it would be.
no.
Tons of stuff left out, tons of stuff just repetitive, boring, the whole idea of, always being something new. It's, a lot of people were upset with this, and it turns out that, the developers are being investigated for false advertising, which is, a pretty big thing in the gaming world.
It is. I mean, because you can go from making, like you were talking about, just to comment on it again, you can go from making a lot of money and having a lot of relationships, business-wise, to having none in like a matter of seconds, once that gets out. And if it proves out to be true, then pretty much that studio is done. Nobody's going to work with them ever again.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, it's generally, that's the reason why, that type of, misleading advertising and promotion is not something that you do in the market if you want to survive, because it's like, you can get more out of a long-term relationship with a person, a trade relationship where you can work together rather than just conning them one time and getting money. It's like if you make a good game, those people will buy games with you again. You have credibility. You have the ability to continue making money in the future, maybe support yourself doing this. But, to advertise something in one way and deliver a completely different end product. And this isn't even like somebody brought up the whole thing about how certain games, for example, I think one of the Dark Souls games had a different graphical style in the demo than it did in the finished project. I'm saying, okay, that was the graphical style, which is one thing a
Right.
little bit disappointing in a way, but this was like major gameplay elements that this game didn't have, and we were led to believe that it would. So it's
Yeah.
gotten so bad that on the Steam page, Steam had to add a section reminding people that this game does not come with any additional, amendments to the refund policy. The standard Steam refund policy applies, which is basically Steam saying, sorry, we can't do anything about it. The developers have not made any type of move, to say we're fessing up to our mistake. Um, if you look at if you look at something like what was it, Arkham Knight, where the PC version was
Hmm.
actually, they took it back for a bit, and they're
Yeah.
like, we have to do more work to it. I'm saying like they could have at least done that, but like over
Came
50
out with a
awards and
patch.
nominations. Yeah, came
Yeah.
with a patch. All these awards and nominations for most anticipated game. All these things, how they were looking forward to it. Ambitious game, and now to see this disappointment. Like the reviews on Steam are hilarious. Like
It
the
is.
according at this point in time in Steam, the overall views of just over 70,000 reviews is wow, 67% negative.
Hmm.
And recently, uh, there have been over 5,000 reviews in the last 30 days, and 87% of those are negative. So,
Right. And
and people are abandoning the game. They're just not playing it anymore, too. Like, people are leaving.
well, and I don't blame them because certain aspects of this game is missing. Like you were talking about, it's like the multiplayer. We never did get it.
Yeah.
Never did get it, and we were promised all these stuff that we'd be able to do, and all that, and it just didn't happen. And I can understand being day one. Okay, all right, like maybe the first week or two. All right, you're going to have some hiccups and stuff like that. You're going to have to put out some patches and stuff like that to fix the problems. This studio, however, has not done a thing, like hasn't done anything to fix, what they advertised that this game would be.
Right.
And I don't think they have any intentions on doing so. They really
No.
don't. They just want to make a quick buck. And this leads, and Axel, I want to ask you this question. I mean, it could sound far fetched, but also this brings up a good point. Will this put more, I guess, stricter regulations on independent developers? Like, will this inflict more rules upon them before they're able to release a game? You know,
That's a good question. Like, I think what we need really is we need more rating systems, because one of the things that we used to have, like there have been like big problems in gaming for a long time. One of the first big problems was the violence in video games. Then we got the rating system, and all of a sudden that pretty much went away because now there is some sort of guiding system there. Now we're having the problem of, in an era of connectivity, games can be patched and they can be fixed conceivably later. So a lot of times, developers just release games that aren't finished or aren't even the game they advertised. So I think what we need is some sort of rating system where people can know definitively, um, was this game produced by a developer that had like one of these instances in the past where enough people got together and gave this overwhelming negative response where we could say there was an issue here that they didn't address. So we can pretty much blacklist these people.
it's kind of like eBay. Like, if you buy something
Yeah,
off
the
of
rating
eBay,
system. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so
and
we'll
I
know.
think that's a good idea.
Yeah, so that just like looking at the Steam store page, like you're seeing all those thumbs down, that just lets me know that like if we could take something like that and have it on a bigger scale, like and just or even just use what we have more, because we have a lot of those mechanisms in place. What we need to do is just continue to show people that that won't be, tolerated. Still leaves a bad taste in people's mouth though, because people did get cheated out of their $60. Um, we can't do anything about that, and I'm sure if Sean Murray would do something about that, I mean we could maybe it might be a little better, but that's a pretty bad note to end on. Hopefully, we'll have some good news toward the end of the show. But we're gonna go ahead and go right into the cutting edge segment. All right, guys. Now it's time for a segment that we call the cutting edge, where I reach out to members of the YouTube gaming community that I am personally a fan of, and On the last episode of the Chopping Block, we actually talked about highlights from a gaming playthrough, but on this episode, we have the interview segment returning, and today, very excited to have an old friend of mine here. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the AireaidLord.
How you guys doing?
What's going on, man? Thanks for being on.
Yeah, nah. I mean, I'd say not much, but actually a lot's been going on these days, and just trying to keep all the everything organized and just kind of taking things day by day. And yeah,
I heard that,
it's
man.
been
This is the best way to do it. So tell us a little bit about your channel and what sort of stuff you upload here on YouTube.
yeah, sure. So I upload mostly video gaming content. I've been doing so since December of 2010. That started a YouTube channel where I tried to do playthroughs of the newer games that came out. I mainly used a camera slash camcorder to do so back when I didn't have the money and equipment really to fund the channel and where I wanted it to go. In I'd say I think November of 2012, I finally upgraded new laptop, the Elgato Game Capture for direct capture playing, and I was able to kind of take my channel a little bit further. I'd say in mid to late 2013, I limited my playthroughs of newer releases drastically because I was making a pretty big transition into college, and so it was more difficult for me to dedicate lots of time to playing new games. So I did some playthroughs, but I heavily scaled it back. And then after that, I've done basically anytime I play a game and I'm just playing a game for fun, and I see something that I think would just be useful for YouTube or my fans would like. I'll record it and put it on YouTube. There's a bunch of different examples. Like I love the Black Ops Zombie mode. So if I do something, there's a glitch in the game, or if I get to a high round, I'll upload that, just a very small segmented clip, and put it up.
Right?
Um, yeah, I this year I think has been the most lacking for playthroughs. I think the only playthrough I did full start to finish, I did Uncharted 4, which there is a full playthrough of that on my channel. Great game. I also did Deus Ex Mankind Divided, but I didn't upload all the parts just because I felt with my channel, I used to do that. I used to kind of spam videos of just, and even back then it was worse because it was like 10, 15-minute video clips. And I used to upload them like in bulk over and over. And so
Right.
people's subscription boxes would be filled with these freaking off camera angled playthroughs of games that other people were doing. So I try to take my channel in a new direction. I'll have playthrough parts of just games because if I'm playing a game, I'm like, well, if I'm just going to be screwing around in this game, people might as well watch me play it. So that's how I've handled my gaming content. Now, uh, I'm sure we'll get into this later in the interview, depending on your questions. But there is another part of my channel that has kind of exploded over the course of, I'd say, late 2015 into early 2016, and this is probably where a large bulk of my subscription base is now, and something I never expected where my subscriptions would be. It's a kind of new direction for my channel, and I'm very excited about it. Actually,
Right. Yeah.
yep.
I know exactly what you're talking about. And yeah, for those of you who don't know, back when I used to upload content before I kind of, rezzed my channel here in 2016, the Area Lord and I used to talk and everything. And, one thing that we were just kind of talking about before was just how much the landscape for YouTube has really changed, especially for creators. It's like now, like you were talking about, there's so many different things you can do to kind of pull in a viewer base or a subscriber base, from a different source. So I think these days it's really fitting of content creators to kind of have that versatile aspect to their channel.
Exactly. Yeah, the YouTube landscape is very, very different from when we started. I mean, just even like someone that I would know that even like some people that I know who've started even earlier probably even know this to the greatest extent. When you used to upload a gameplay video, usually it was given it was given that it would get a certain amount of traction and that it was usually unique in some way, shape, or form. That if you were uploading gameplay of something, it was something that people would usually check out because it was gameplay related to that game. There wasn't as much of a market for it And when you entered into this realm, it was new, it was unique. So people like new and unique things, and it was almost like this fad that was just catching on. And so people kind of took to either making their own content or enjoying other people's content. But I think that when people started to look at other YouTubers that were successful and said, "Hey, I can do this too. Like, why not me?" I think just with anything, too much of anything is a bad thing.
Right, right.
I say.
Oversaturation.
And oversaturation is the perfect word to describe what has happened to YouTube over these years. Just ad revenue for third party networks and partnership companies has declined to the point where contract negotiations have been renegotiated in some of the biggest ways possible with people I know, people within. I'm actually a machinima partner still. Um, and so just renegotiations and different things that have kind of fluctuated within that realm. And so it changed. Like now when you upload gaming content, you really have to consider really your own subscription base first, and then how you like it needs to be almost in this really like unknown category in and of itself, something that doesn't touch upon really anything uh in just depending on what you're doing, just making it kind of putting the extra effort in to make it as unique as possible. Like now, so more than effort, like the effort that you put into your content now matters a lot more if you are indeed trying. If you're trying to take your channel to new heights and try to you actually have ambitions of growing it. Those are the things you have to do because otherwise it's a tidal wave. Like you're literally trying to surf with
Right.
hurricane size waves coming your direction. It's it's at this rate I'd say almost impossible because so many of the YouTubers are kind of set in. YouTube's analytical system works in the fact that the most viewed videos show up more in people's related video section. Like it's view based. The bigger YouTubers have kind of gotten cozy with YouTube advertisers, and if they're going to get the most out of the ads, now they're going to use these types of tactics.
Right.
And it's that's just where the money is. Like if they want to make money, it's not as much. You'll hear some YouTubers say, back in the day, it was about the little guy and it was about trying to make a new channel. I mean, that was definitely true because YouTube almost had like a Facebook feel to it. There used to be a friends list. There
Yeah.
used to be like a personalized page where you could make a background, you could have a bio, and like the channel was more about, you. It was almost like a Facebook page, but with a little bit more of a focus on videos. And I
Right.
think that was the best form of YouTube's channel section because people could see your videos easily. They could see a bio about. They got to know so much about you just by looking at the channel. The old channel layouts kind of they lend well to this type of interactivity in a marketing sense. And so I've always made this joke with YouTubers that every time YouTube changes the channel layout design, they make it worse. And that has stayed true since
That
2009
is
because I had
true.
the one, yeah, 2009, 2011. I think every 2 years, 2009, 2011, and then 2013 was the YouTube one layout, which was god awful, and it still is. It still is. Like I've just at this point, like it's been years, so I just kind of just don't, I just kind of it's as myself, I phase out the fact that I'm seeing this kind of garbage layout.
Right.
Because I remember YouTube channels back in the day that were dedicated to making backgrounds. It was like, oh,
Yep.
$5 for a custom background. Now, some people, there's a video still on YouTube where this guy was chosen to make channel art for my background because Machinima partners got like they were free. People could make you free background art, and it was kind of like a privilege, and you got exposure through it. So one guy has a video out, and it's still on YouTube from 2012 where he has like a speed. It's almost like a speed video, speed drawing of him making in Photoshop a background for me. And it was like a highlight for him. And some people were like, "Oh, great background, great this and that." It was almost that was a market in and of itself, and it just kind of went away overnight.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
We're actually gonna shift gears here, guys, because the AireaidLord, as he was talking about, actually has another, uh, you know, type of content on his channel, not related to gaming, and this is something we wanted to talk about soon, very soon, my friends. The Walking Dead will return. Man, I know you're a huge fan. Tell us a little bit about some of your reaction videos, and tell us what you think about how the series has shaped up to this point.
Yeah, I mean, I started watching The Walking Dead my freshman year of college. I mean, at that point, 4.5 seasons had gone by. So I just binge watched it one, like during my winter break. I had some time and I just binge watched it. And I really liked the series, but for me, I remember like there were some elements of this, like some thematic elements of the show that kind of paralleled some of the things that like struggles I was going through at my life at the time. So the show became important to me for that reason, other than the action and the story and just the show itself, but because of like it kind of like helped me in a point in my life when I was moving forward from something or going past something, and it kind of helped me at a certain point in my life. And so watching the show and staying connected to it has always been important to me because of that. So ever since so when I started watching the show, in January 2014, when the mid-season of season 4 came back, I did review videos. At first, it was review videos. Me and my roommate ended up doing reviews. So they were very short vlogs where we talk about the episode and give it a score rating. Now, these videos sometimes got some attention, but very rarely, like one of them got, some of them get a couple thousand views, but it was minimal. They got minimal attention. They were just little reviews. And so for me, I was always like, okay, I'm just going to do these. Like, I never had kind of an intention to do anything more. I was like, I'll just review the show as I watch it. Like, the night of, we'll make a review episode for it. And then I believe it was the finale for season 5. And a couple of my friends were around. I'm like, hey, a lot of people on YouTube do like reaction videos. Do you want to like, let's try and do one. So it was me and like 4 or 5 other people. The structure for it was different because it was only an 11-minute long video for a finale that was like an hour and a half. So
Right.
I ended up cutting a lot of sections, and I only included the funny reactions, and I trimmed it down, and it got like I think 11,000 hits, and I was like, wow, I was like, I didn't think, yeah, this is pretty cool. So this is I was like, this is interesting, and I was actually very entertaining for me. Me and my friends actually had a lot of fun. It was just some of the comedy that was in it, just the all of us reacting together was hilarious.
Right.
And then so I actually later that fall I actually studied abroad in London, so I wasn't able to watch the episodes live, but I was also very busy, living in another country, and I still wanted to do the reaction videos. So I was like, all right, we can find the episodes online the day after. Um, and I said, I was like, how about we do reaction videos, but I don't really have the time to edit them. So I'm just going to upload the full thing. I don't know if I'm going to get copyright things, but I'm going to manipulate the video in a way so that I can try to get around it.
Right.
So that first episode went up. So at the premiere of season 6, and to this date, I think it has like 212,000 views.
Wow.
It's pretty ridiculous. So then I was like, okay, like I see, and then the subscribers just started coming in because I think I only had like 5,000 subscribers or 4,000 when I started that, and now I have 7,500. I've grown almost 2 times my user base from these reaction videos, and it got to the point where most of the comments on my channel, people just to this day will ask, are you going to put up Walking Dead content? Are you going to put up Walking Dead content? For the entirety of I have on a reaction video for every episode of season 6. Now, I'd say 3 or 4 of those are copyright claimed. Um, and for me it's random. I do not know how it works because some of the videos have been claimed
Hmm.
and I've been able to dispute them and then the claims have gone away. And then other times I've disputed the claim and they don't go away. And I was actually in email contact. Now, I don't know how legit the guy was, but I was in email contact with a guy who basically was like, oh, we can't let you monetize it. It's not fair use. And it's not like I could argue with him because it was the full episode that we were reacting to. So that
Right.
that is not fair use, obviously. But and so there were like I think 3 or 4 reaction videos that are now like it's AMC monetized, and which is fine because I'd say all of the rest of the videos are monetized under like me and my name kind of thing. And for a lot of people, they'll go there because they get to see the full episode, which is weird because again, like it's you can see a little portion of the video, but also you get the audio from my computer and how we're reacting to it and stuff.
Right.
And a lot of comments I'll get on a daily basis is, "Oh, I just came here to see the episode. I just came here to see the episode." And it's like, well, I mean, I'm making a lot of money off of you guys, but like, if you just came here to see the episode, fine. Now, it's not obviously the most like I'm not gonna say here and like I'm not gonna talk like YouTube ethics over it. For me, like I don't have as much time to kind of work with my YouTube channel because I'm busy with college and other things. So something like this works for me because it's I get to watch the show, I get to react to the show, and if the copyright holders don't have a problem with it, then I just upload the stuff. But if they do, I obey what they have to say. But I try to limit it so that those issues don't kind of happen.
Right. Very cool. Very cool. And one thing I'm really excited about with season 7 of The Walking Dead is for anyone who is familiar with the show but maybe hasn't watched a lot of the episodes. They don't really follow the story very closely. Everybody, their first impression when it comes to The Walking Dead is zombies. It's a zombie apocalypse, and obviously that's presents a very dangerous situation. But now we're starting to see what happens when civilization collapses. Now we're starting to see the cycle repeat, and the show is going to completely shift gears and change into this show kind of about world building, about who owns what and why, and societal rules and all these different things. So I'm very excited about that, man. And I have to ask you before we head out of here, and we're not going to give any spoilers. This is all just predictions. But who do you think got the bat?
I actually have a whole like little vlog video about this. I think that they stuck to the comics and that they killed Glenn
Yep, that's
because
what I'm thinking
I
too.
hear because if you put on headphones and listen to it, you can hear him. You can hear someone say Maggie like moaning and like it
Yep.
sounds like him. You can hear it like some people. And I was so shocked because I slowed the video down. I actually went to some guy's YouTube channel who uploads the soundtrack, and so he edits out the voices, and you can hear it super super clear when you edit out the voices. You can hear his voice when he gets cracked over the head with the bat, and I'm like, that is like 100% Glenn's voice breathing and all that shit. Like that, there's
Yeah.
no doubt about that. Now, I have heard rumors that the way that they're gonna make this up to everybody with the whole cliffhanger is that there's gonna be two people that die.
Yep. That's what I've heard too.
Yeah, so I'd have to say it would be Glenn and Abraham if I had to choose
Yep.
two people. But there it's
Yeah.
yeah.
My take on it originally was after Abraham did not get the death he got in the comics, I was thinking, well, his days are numbered. They're saving him for something big, and I really, really cannot wait for this scene because this scene coming up, and from everything we've been told, people were angry about the cliffhanger with the finale of season 6, but from everything we've been told, season 7, the premiere will pick up exactly at that moment, which is easily, you can make an argument for one of the most compelling and iconic scenes from the source material. And this really, encapsulates and it really represents what Negan is about. This idea of taking property and being able to take things from people is going to be demonstrated because, if they do stick with the comics, or if they go, switch it up as two people, it's characters that we've come to know and love that are going to be ripped away from us. And it's going to be one of those Walking Dead moments. I feel it's going to be like, when Beth got shot or when Herschel got decapitated or all the other, just hugely heart wrenching scenes that we've seen in the series. I think this is going to be, one that we're going to put in that category.
Yeah, it's gonna I don't know what the episode's going to be about because I know what happens in the comics after, but really issue 100 ends after the person in the comics gets killed and then Negan kind of just leaves and he's like, these are the rules. I taught you a lesson, and then he kind of just leaves Rick. And then
Right.
Rick goes to the hilltop and he's all pissed, like, why didn't you warn me that Negan had a million guys? And so I don't know if they're gonna just jump right into, like, how could this episode end on a different note, kind of thing. Like, my theory is that Negan almost tests them and like puts them on like a gauntlet run. Like he chases them as they go towards the hilltop to prove that they're worthy like followers and like they can get supplies for him and all this crap and stuff. Like
Right.
that's just a theory because I also there's like a promotional video of Negan with an assault rifle inside the RV shooting at something and I'm like and it kind of almost proved my theory and I was like it's not necessarily true but that's still what I'm leaning towards. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It is going to be incredible, man. I can't wait. But want to thank you guys for checking this out. Man, I want to thank you for being on the cutting edge here today. It's been awesome. We definitely need to get together again in the future. Try to do something here on YouTube.
Yeah, sure, definitely, man. When I have some free time and just between stuff, yeah, that'd be great.
All right, guys. We'd like to thank you for watching. We'll catch you next time. All right, so that was our friend, the AireaidLord. Good catching up with him, man.
Oh man, yeah, he's always good to talk to, huh?
Yeah, and you know, really fitting that we had an old friend stop by to chat again here because as we talked about at the start of the show, there have been rumors that this is the final episode of the chopping block.
Yeah, yeah, and I guess we can confront these rumors like head on now. We
Yeah.
can finally just let it out of the box and just tell people, all right, this is what's going on. So
Yep. All right, guys. We've always wanted to have some sort of presence here on YouTube where, Fizz and I, we can get together, talk about games. We had Downtime with Axe and Fizz, which kind of morphed into, another show and then kind of morphed into, you know, the chopping block that we have now. And what we're here to talk about today is that we are very excited to announce that the show will continue to grow, evolve, and improve so we can reach more people, so we can talk about more of the cool stuff going on in gaming because we love it. So this will be the, I guess you could call it the season finale of the Chopping Block because we are going to relaunch in the near future as a podcast. We are going to be streaming live discussion about gaming events, and then what we're going to end up doing is, we'll have that show after the fact, and we will release, content on each of the topics we discussed. So it'll enable us to talk about, a lot more topics. We can do it, in front of a live audience. People want to show up. We'd love to have you
right,
get in on the discussion. We'll have guests on just like we did here, and more stuff planned out in the future. We had combat chat, which we used to do on the show, and we had other segments as well. But at this time, the one we always did, even back in the day, along with downtime, was combat chat. And
right,
for those of you who are wondering, the chopping block will continue as a podcast here. I guess we're just going to start, like streaming it on YouTube now, and pretty soon we'll move it to iTunes and things like that. But that will be entirely gaming related. The combat chat segments, you will see future MMA content. It may not be in the way we've shown it before, but we've got some great stuff planned in the future for you guys.
yeah, most definitely, and that's what we've always came to you guys about. We're always thinking of ways to improve, and this is just one of those ways that we are. Because the chopping block, if you really think about it, we talk about gaming stuff. I mean, we love it. I mean, we've been involved in it since we were kids, and it's pretty much like a discussion type of segment. And me and X, we got together and we're like, all right, man, yeah, okay, it's cool to record, put it up, and let people like send us messages and stuff, about the questions that we ask. But what if we can do something better to get you guys involved? So this is the reason why we're doing it. We're going to be doing a podcast, doing live streams because we want to involve you all. Because guess what? We wouldn't be here if it weren't for you guys. So
Exactly. The fact that we were able to come back to YouTube this year. We've had a great time. We are entering into the the final quarter of the year, and we've had a great time resurrecting the old magic that we had here on YouTube and doing a lot of new stuff too. And we had a plan, and I think throughout the year we've kind of stuck to that. But we've also adapted, we've grown, and we talked about some plans that we had in the past. We've got a lot of cool stuff planned out for you guys in the future. So that is going to wrap up this season finale of the chopping block. But never fear, we will be streaming live to you very soon. We will be tweeting about it. Do not forget to follow us on there for future updates.
all right, guys, thank you so much, and catch you guys later.
See you later, guys.